Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Next time on Ciao Italia, street food, Molise style. Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Welcome to Italy, and let's cook real Italian. Aren't they gorgeous? Swiss chard. I knew you said that. I'm in heaven. Think about how healthy this is. That's for you. Sundae sauce. All 20 regions of Italy are fabulous. And every time I do this, I think of my Nonna Galasso because she always made it this way. You want a Goldilocks dough, just right. Who doesn't like basil, especially in the summer? Obviously, you have to have pesto sauce at some point, right? I mean, I'm a cook. Why can't I try it? You're the best.
No, you're the best.
There are hundreds of different kinds of olives found all over Italy. Over 350 varieties, different cultivars, different types of olives. Everybody seems to think that an olive needs to be black, but that's not necessarily so. You'll have all kinds of olives you find in Italy, from red to light green to dark green to black, and that just indicates their degree of ripeness. And what would Italy be? What would Italian regional cooking be without olives? That is the bedrock foundation of Italian cooking, olive oil. And today we're going to be working with olives in a very special way. I want to take you right to the region of Molise, right here. You know, very few people go there. Even Italians don't go to Molise. It doesn't have a lot of people, a lot of population areas, but it's great for its food, particularly a street food called olive all'ascolana. And we're going to be making olive all'ascolana today. So let me show you how that happens. So you have to start, of course, with having some olives available to you. So you can have olives that are in brine, like this. You can have oil-cured olives. Either one will work. But the point is that in Ascoli Piceno, where this recipe comes from, these stuffed olives, the olive all'ascolana, this is a street food that is very particular to this particular area. So much so that this is a DOP product, meaning that the olives have to come from a specific region and have to be used in a certain way. So let me show you how you do it. So you have to start with making a meat mixture first, because the olives are going to be stuffed with meat. So to do that, you want to get some vegetables ready. So here we have a carrot, we've got celery, and we've got onions. So I'm just going to coarsely chop those up. And we want to mince this so that it's very, very fine. So just chop up your vegetables coarsely, and then you want to put them in a food processor. So there are our vegetables. And now I'm going to move over my food processor and get that really minced well. So we put everything in. And mince it. You really want a fine mince on this because we have to stuff tiny olives. Okay, I think that's looking really good. So now let me get that out of there. So here's our mixture. Take the blade out and put that in a bowl. See how fine that is? Now this particular street food, these stuffed olives, are so important that they have a fair for this. They have a festival. So there is our mixture. So now what we need to do is get some meat ready. So here we have traditionally 3 kinds of meat used in this recipe. So we have ground chicken, we have ground pork, and we have ground beef. Now there are many variations on this recipe in Molise. So some people might use just a combination of veal and pork, or pork and beef, or they might just use chicken and pork. So it's very, very local, very regional. So we're using these three kinds of meats, a 1/4 pound of each. So we have 3/4 of a pound of combined meats. So now we want to put a little bit of olive oil in a saute pan. We want about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a pan. And then we're going to cook all of this mixture together. We've got the onion and the carrot and the celery that goes in. We add the chicken. That was a 1/4 pound. The beef, another 1/4 pound. Turn the heat up a little bit. And the pork. So that nice combination of meats is going to give us really nice flavor. And this is something that, as I say, is a street food. You would eat this, you know, as you're walking along the street. It's kind of, I don't want to call it fast food because that would not be right, but a street food that's a very old type of kind of antipasto that you would have, where you were just eating these beautiful breaded, crunchy olives out on the street while you see your friends. So we want to let this meat really get nicely browned, because then we have to get it into a very fine consistency. When the meat is nicely browned, then you can add the wine. And for this, we're adding a white wine. So any white wine that you really like to drink is perfectly fine. So we want about 1/2 cup of white wine, and we want to allow most of that to kind of evaporate. So I'm going to eyeball it. That's about 1/2 cup rather, of wine, and we want to let that really cook down so that the meat is looking fairly dry. All right, here is our meat mixture. It's all cooked. Most of the wine has been absorbed. It really smells great. So now what we need to do is get this as fine as we can get it. Now you could either do this by putting if you have a meat grinder, that's fine, or you can just do it in a food processor. So I'm going to transfer it right to my food processor. And we're going to whirl this up until it's where I want it. You may have to stop and just look and gauge it. Not there yet. Okay, I'm going to wipe down the side of the bowl a little bit, make sure that I didn't leave anything behind, and just do that one more time. So this may take a couple, pulses, 3 or 4. Okay, I think that looks good. But you know what? I should taste this. Can't forget that part. Let me see. Can really taste the wine in that. Okay, it passes the test. So we're going to put it back in a bowl. Let me get a nice clean bowl for you. So back in a bowl it goes. Imagine how many olives we are going to fill with this much filling. This is just a really great traditional recipe. And the great thing about Molise is that not too many tourists go there. So the food culture really has remained intact. It's pretty much the way it used to be. So we're making a real classic recipe. All right, so we have this. We're going to give this a grinding of black pepper, some salt to taste, a piacere. We're going to give it a grinding of nutmeg. Yes, a little nutmeg goes in as much as you like, and some ground cloves, just a smidge, about that much. That goes in. So you can see now that the flavor is really going to develop. And then we want the zest of 1 lemon. I always say there are 2 things you ought to have in your kitchen at all times: lemons and olive oil, because you can do so much with both to enhance flavor of a lot of different foods. So get the zest in. And then we want to mix that a little bit. You see how fine this is looking now. And then we want some, yes, some grated Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmigiano Reggiano, as you know, is the king of all cheeses, coming from the region of Emilia-Romagna. You look on the rind, you see the words Parmigiano Reggiano, signifying 2 of the 5 provinces where this cheese can be made. This is a cow's milk cheese made from an evening and a morning milking. So I'm going to give this a nice grating of Parmigiano Reggiano. Now this is starting to really sing, folks. Okay, I would say about 1/4 cup. So mix that in. And now we need an egg. So we want this to be pretty compact. So here's 1 egg. Let's beat it up a little bit. So beat up an egg. Add that. And mix that in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to form tiny little marble-sized balls that are going to fit inside the olives. But I have to tell you the story about the olives, I mean, because it can be the pits. All right, so a little bit of breadcrumbs to bind that all. And when I use breadcrumbs, I just take stale bread that I have at home, dry it out, let it go through the food processor, and then I have breadcrumbs for whenever I need them, because breadcrumbs in a box from a store just isn't going to do it. Okay, this is looking pretty good, but let me test. So I take a little piece like that and just roll it in my hand, see? Just to make sure it stays. And if it's too mushy and it falls apart, well, then I know that I have to add a little bit more breadcrumb, but that's pretty good. Okay. Now, actually, you could make this mixture up ahead of time if you wanted to do this for a party. You could get this all together, put it in the refrigerator, and let it get cold. And then the next day, make the little tiny balls. Okay, so you admire that while I wash my hands, and then we will talk about those olives. Okay, so now here's the dilemma. You are not going to find olive all'ascolana anywhere because they are particular to the region of Ascoli Piceno in Molise. So the likelihood of you finding them is very rare. Believe me, I looked. But you can use other olives for this. So the Ascoli Piceno olive is green, it's elongated, and it has a pit. So, how do cooks in Molise deal with this? Well, here are some green elongated olives that I found in the grocery store. You can find either Castelvetrano, which would be a good olive to use for this, or a Cerignola, either one. Castelvetrano or a Cerignola. They're elongated olives. So, housewives in Molise must have the patience of God. I don't have this patience because this has a pit in it. And this is not the typical olive. So the Ascoli Piceno olive is meaty and it isn't stuck to the pit like this one is. So believe me, I have tried going around this olive with a small knife. And the idea is that you have to keep the olive in one piece. See? You got to go around the olive like you're going around an apple. So the olive is whole like that, see? And then you stuff it. Ain't gonna work. I have a better idea. Okay, here's my idea. Go buy yourself some pitted olives, okay? And then you make a little slit. Nobody in Molise is gonna know this. So you make a little slit in the olive like that, see? You have a little slit. And then you get a bunch of your friends together and you roll this meat into a little ball like that. And you take your little olive and you stuff the meat in there, see? Stuff it in there and close it up. You got to be delicate with this. So you close it up so that the ratio of the meat to the olive is absolutely perfect. And you want to make sure that you've compacted the meat in there very well. So now we have our meat stuffed olive, but we're not done. I've been here for 2 hours and I finally got the olives all stuffed, so they're nice and compact. Now what we need to do is flour them, egg them, breadcrumb them, and fry them. So you want to take them a few at a time, put them in the flour, and just toss them. Toss them well. Then you have some beaten egg. And you want to take those a few at a time, shake off any excess, put them in the egg. And then we're going to put them in this breadcrumb mix. These are my own breadcrumbs. If you want to add a little panko to them, you can. Here's some grated Parmigiano Reggiano that we're going to add to mix in with the breadcrumbs, just to give it more flavor. And then let the excess egg drip off and put them into the breadcrumbs and really, really coat them well. You want them well coated so that they're going to have a nice crust on the outside. And then what you want to do is put them on a dish. You do this all ahead of time, actually, and just fry them when you're ready to serve them. They're actually best when they're served hot. So again, put them in the egg. Really wash them well. And you know, a serving of this per person is about 10. And in Molise, you see people walking around with these paper cones full of these olives, these beautifully flavored olives with that meat filling. And it's considered a street food, much like, you know, if you were someplace else in Italy and you were having, let's say, chickpea fritters in Sicily, or you were having gelato someplace. So you're walking around with this. This is the kind of food that you would eat while you're meeting your friends. So again, you want to make sure that you're figuring on 10 olives per person. So you're going to be doing a lot of stuffing. You want to get your oil at 375 degrees so that it's really, really hot, because these olives are not going to take very long to cook. When they're lightly brown, that's it. You scoop them up, you put them in your little cone bag, and you eat away. All right, that's the last batch. And now we're ready to fry. All right, we want that oil nice and hot, and we want to fry up these olives, and it's not going to take very long, so you really have to watch them. So put in a few at a time. Make sure that you have enough oil. You want to make sure that you have enough oil to cover the olives. And I can't wait to eat these because they're best when they're very, very warm, as I said. So you want to watch them. You want to make sure the oil is at 375 degrees. And did I say this makes a great antipasto? I think I did. It doesn't have to be eaten as a street food here in America. You could serve this to company for, you know, instead of cheese and crackers. Think of how interesting and novel this would be, and you could tell them the story about where they come from Molise. So let me see how we're doing here. All right, they're looking good, but they're not quite. You got to be patient. All right, our olives are done. Don't eat them immediately because they're extremely hot, but you want to eat them while they're still warm. And while they're cooling enough for you to enjoy them, you can make a great olive pesto. Here we have a selection of different kinds of oil-cured olives. So we have black oil-cured, we've got green, we've got some red oil-cured. We need about 2 cups of pitted oil-cured olives to make the pesto. So those are our olives, and we want to start with some garlic, a clove of garlic. So I'm going to put that in my food processor, along with the olives. And we're going to zap this up just for a couple minutes. We're not going to add any salt to this because these olives are salty enough. Give it a few little pulses. And then we're going to add some walnuts. Now you could use pine nuts for this, walnuts, almonds, whatever you like. I like walnuts in this, so we're going to add some walnuts. That goes in. Some fresh thyme leaves, because I like thyme with olives. So about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Put the top back on. And again, pulse this up until you get to the consistency that you really like. So you don't want to make it too smooth, but you don't want to have it too lumpy either. Then when I have it where I want it, I take a look and I give it a little bit of olive oil. So here's a little extra virgin olive oil that's going to go right through the feed tube, just to smooth that out a little bit. And that's looking good. And then the last thing I need to add is some cheese. Some Parmigiano Reggiano goes right in. Again, see how easy this is? Pulse, pulse, it's all done. This is a great way to start a party with a glass of wine. It's easy, there's no cooking involved, and it's delicious. So then, you simply take it and look at the consistency of it and spread it on some toasts that you've lightly sauteed in a little bit of olive oil. And if you've done it right, you see it will all hold together beautifully, just like that. And you put it on a little dish. And I would say 2 per person to start out with is really nice. And guess what this is also good for? This makes a great sauce for pasta. And you really only need a little bit because you would dilute it with a little bit of the cooking water. So there's our second one. And we give that just a little, dollop of some fresh thyme. And you have a really wonderful, wonderful, kind of like a tapenade, olive pesto that's delicious. A properly stuffed olive is a miracle of proportions. And that is what we achieved today when we made the olive all'ascolana. Remember, those are the street food olives that are stuffed with meat that you find in paper cones on the streets of Molise. And then we made a wonderful olive pesto using a variety of olives from green to black to red. And we flavored it with some garlic and some thyme and olive oil and Parmigiano Reggiano and walnuts. And it's perfect as a little crostini. And until I see you nella cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Ciao.